Welcome to what just might be the most important weekend of the 2025 college football regular season. We have an insane slate of games, 6 in particular that we will be taking a look at that will impact the course of the regular season here. These games will determine potentially who gets left out of the college football playoff, who will have a higher seed, who will get into conference championship games depending on who wins or loses these matchups. To start it all off with this Blitz with Blender video, we need to talk about the whiteout game. Penn State hosting Oregon. Drew Allar versus Dante Moore. James Franklin, who has yet to win a matchup game where the talent is equal on both rosters, versus Dan Lanning, who wins the Big Ten in his first year in the conference. These guys saw each other in the Big Ten championship game last year. They're very familiar with the style that they each want to play. Penn State, very into the run game. They want to spread the football to the middle of the field, right? They want to get the tight end, Luke Reynolds, going. They brought in all of these transfers, but it really starts with the offensive line getting pushed and Kaytron Allen, Nick Singleton carrying the football. Finding ways for them to have an impact on this game will be pivotal in order for Penn State to have success. Whether or not they can against that massive Oregon front. It is one of the largest and most physical in college football. But what is Oregon? What's one word to describe them? It's fast. It was fast in the Big Ten champ game. That's why we had people throwing up on the sidelines for the Nittany Lions. This team is fast, led by their quarterback, Dante Moore, a gunslinger. He's got the size, 6'4". He's got the mobility to move on the run. The ball comes out of his hand like it's shot out of a cannon. He's got the weapon in Dakorien Moore. The true freshman is my key player to look at as far as the weapons go for Oregon on the perimeter of this team. Is there a guy that can match speed for speed with Dakorien Moore? No, not really. A.J. Harris is a great defensive back. We look at Zaki, Wheatley, Deny Dennis, Sutton, Zane Durant. There are phenomenal defensive talents for the Penn State. I mean, I could list every guy. They're all pretty good. They are, for the most part, upperclassmen, veteran players. That's why many people had them as winning the national championship this season, despite Penn State not getting over the hump last year. I think that Penn State wins this game. It's at home, people. Remember, it's the whiteouts. You can almost bank in 4 to 5 pre-snap penalties that will impact the course of the game. But right now, that place will be going bananas. Mo Bamba ringing in the ears of Oregon, a song that Dan Lanning doesn't quite like, by the way. But you're going to tell me Dante Moore, the kid that I saw in person struggle a couple years ago against UCLA in person. He's a different player now, but it is a same caliber Penn State team to the past, if not levels beyond it. That Penn State atmosphere might be the best in history that we have seen. I've got the Nittany Lions with the win, 27-23. Let's flip it over to the SEC before we get to another Big Ten matchup. LSU against Ole Miss. Now, this has me surprised that LSU is only a small favorite in this game when they have been playing maybe the best defense in the country. They're going up against Trinidad Chambliss, the backup quarterback, who has looked good. Look, he's produced at a high level. I have to give the kid his flowers in what he did last week. LSU's defense is different, though. They are led by the two linebackers on that thing, Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins, the all-American caliber guys. They are all over the field. They will hit you, and they will be limiting Trinidad Chambliss and his ability to use his legs. I got a lot of faith in LSU's offense now. I saw them come together and mesh better. Is Garrett Nussmier fully healthy? Doesn't seem that way. He's still got that core thing he's struggling with, trying to work through it. I think that LSU wins this game because they can run the football better. Brian Kelly brought it up at the end of the game against Florida. They did it better last week going against Ole Miss. It won't be an easy tack against a defense led by Suntarine Perkins of Ole Miss, and that is a great Ole Miss defense. They return a bit of production. They had to deal with replacing some of the guys that they lost to the NFL draft last year in Princely Mielen. They bring in the brother Prince who's looked pretty good as a young starter, but you can't really replace a Trey Amos who's now playing great for Washington. You can't really replace an Uman Mielen or a Walter Nolan. They've tried to. They're trying to do it. But these were great players a season ago, and this is an Ole Miss defense that could use those caliber guys against LSU. Garrett Nussmier, does he make the big plays? I do believe so. LSU with the win, 24-21. Closer game than anticipated originally, and when I was looking at the matchup, but I got a lot of faith. LSU, home environment, it'll be a tough place to play for them. Let's go to the big noon kickoff game. The USC Trojans on the road taking on the Illinois Fighting Illini at Memorial Stadium. All the talk is about USC's high-flying offense. And now Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon, that's the best duo in college football. It's not Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate is what the consensus country is saying. Nah, it's these two guys at USC. What I have to say to that is, who have they beaten so far? Did they beat Texas? No. So stop with doing a little bit of that stuff that you're trying to do and talk about these guys because of the yardage that they've had. Go win a game. It's against a good opponent in Illinois. I don't think that they do. I have faith that Illinois' defense bounces back. They are down their best cornerback in Scott. Defensively, though, they are still led by Gabe Akis on the front of that defense on edge. Does USC have a guy on that defensive side of the ball? I know they've got the new true freshman player that's coming along that he reclassified into this class, would have been the #1 player in 2026 on the defensive line. But I think Gabe Akis has a big day against USC. They still gave up 31 points to Michigan State. It's not like it was garbage time. All of it, neither. USC didn't play very well in the first half. Defensively, gotta say, road environment, their first big test of the season. What has shown us in the past almost, let's call it 15 years of USC football, that they are ready for this big-time environment. They win this game, sure. They got Michigan coming into the Coliseum in a couple of weeks. I'll start to buy that a little bit more if they can stop the run of Illinois first. Luke Altmaier, like this guy just hasn't had time to throw. The offensive line has been horrible. They were bad. Couldn't stop Anthony against Duke. They couldn't stop Indiana last week. I like Illinois 24-23. They win it on a 39-yard field goal at the buzzer. Let's send it over to Auburn and Texas A&M. Jackson Arnold gets beaten down on the road against his former team. Oklahoma sacks him 10 times. A lot of controversy surrounding this game. What's the most controversial to me, though, besides the officiating, is the fact that Cam Coleman did not get 16 targets in that game. I'm fired up because this is the best wide receiver in the SEC, in my opinion. All respect to Ryan Williams, but he doesn't have the physical traits that Cam Coleman possesses. 6'3", 205 pounds, can go up and separate at the catch point, attack the football. He's one of the best 50-50 wide receivers. He's only a sophomore. He only had 3 catches. He had 90 yards and a touchdown. Should have had 235 in that game against Guillory on the outside, having a terrible day defending him. It was a travesty. It was malpractice of a coaching job by Hugh Freeze not to get the ball to his guy, Cam Coleman, on the edge more. We know about Singleton. He had a big day, I believe 9 catches, but I'm on that point. On the other side of it, A&M, Mario Craver, unbelievable play against Notre Dame. Casey Concepcion, like this is maybe the best duo of wide receivers in the SEC, these two teams and what they possess. So we're going to be talking about another team there in the Alabama Crimson Tide and what they possess on the outside. But Auburn and A&M, the weapons are all over the place. Le'Veon Moss in the backfield for A&M. Jeremiah Cobb didn't run the ball great for Auburn last week. You've got the mobility. They've got the weapons. I like this game to be high scoring. The Auburn Tigers, I believe, will pull out they'll actually lose, Texas A&M beats Auburn at home. I have them winning this game 34-31. They pull it out at home. They send Auburn another loss on the year, a really one that could be backbreaking for the second SEC loss. Too much noise potentially in that program right now, being bad and negative, feeling sorry for yourself about last week and not taking it one at a time, looking ahead towards A&M. I got faith in Concepcion. I got faith in A&M as a squad, Marcel Reed, to go out there and beat the Auburn Tigers. Let's talk about, we got two more matchups, the Ohio State Buckeyes and Washington Huskies. This game at Husky Stadium, the line has moved down. It was at about 12, and now it's almost to one score at about 8.5 points. That's telling you that there's a lot of money heading Washington's way, and people are having faith that the winning streak just might extend, or the Buckeyes don't win this game by more than 2 scores. What is pointing towards that? Well, it's people are looking at Julian Sayin, the starting quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, making his first career road start. Okay. The Buckeyes offensive line, there's a bunch of new starters. Okay. On the defensive side, right? A bunch of new starters, 4 new starters that they have to replace on the defensive line. They've got more starters across the defense. All of these guys are new. This defense looks maybe even better than last year. And this offensive line, which had concerns last year, they couldn't run the ball against Nebraska, couldn't run the ball against Michigan. This team looks deeper than they were a season ago. But what I mean by that is the edge play. They can rotate with C.J. Hicks at edge, taking Curry out, putting in C.J. Hicks. They can take Kenyatta Jackson out, and they can put in Bo Atkinson. They've got those guys. Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles is the best linebacker duo in college football. They're both 6'4.5". They're both 245 pounds, and they both play with the speed of safeties. These guys look like they've both got 4.5 speed, maybe even a hair faster than that. Who knows with the way that they're able to gobble up space. And then, of course, the best defensive player in college football. People say it's Ruben Bain, but he's come alive this year. What about a guy that's been an All-American 2 times in Caleb Downs from Ohio State? This guy doesn't miss tackles. There will be a play where Jonah Coleman has space. He's a great back. He's elusive. One of the best in college football, no doubt. There'll be a play, though, where he will score a touchdown, where it will look like a play where he scores a touchdown against 131 teams, but Caleb Downs is the type of player that trips him up, and it's a 7-yard gain, and it's 2nd and 3 instead of 72 yards out the gate. That's what a Caleb Downs does. He changes football games because he takes away the deep ball. He takes away the explosive run. It's as if there are 2 of him out there. He plays every single position on the field except for nose tackle, and I feel like if he put on 65 pounds, he could also maybe 105 pounds. He could play nose tackle. So Caleb Downs is one of those athletic players that will be all over the field. We could see him lined up one-on-one with Denzel Boston. Don't get it mixed up. This is a first-round or a second-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Very talented. Damon Williams, everyone's talking about the legs. I just don't see it because they're down a starting cornerback. Takario Davis, he's out for this week. Like that's a very large impact going up against Ohio State's wide receivers. You can't talk enough about how that looks. And then Buda Al-Okada, like this guy is their best linebacker. He's out against the Buckeyes offense. I'm expecting the Buckeyes to put up well over 30 points, something like 34 or 37 against Washington. The question is whether the Huskies can keep up. Believe they can score early. Maybe put up 10 points in the first 20, 25 minutes of gameplay or so. But over the course of 4 quarters, a better team that is more physical can start to lean on them. And Washington, you want to rely on the quarterback run with Damon Williams. It can work in the first half, but those hits start to pile up. And by the end of the second half, I have the Buckeyes winning this game by a margin of 34-17. They take care of business on the road in a hostile environment, the second longest streak in college football. I've got a ton of respect for Washington, but this Buckeye team is not getting enough credit. Just about all the pundits want to talk about LSU and what they did, or Miami and how they've played so far, and in Oklahoma and John Mateer unfortunately hurt now. But the Buckeyes, all they did was replace, reload, not rebuild, and they might even be more dangerous this season than they were a season ago with Brian Hartline as the offensive coordinator, not afraid to be aggressive, take risks, and have his shots with his talented quarterback in Julian Saban. The final matchup, this one will be happening at the same time as the whiteout. You're ready for it. Maybe the biggest SEC game of the regular season. Alabama at Georgia, a game that the Alabama Crimson Tide cannot afford to lose. That if they lose, they drop 2 losses overall on the season. The Tide against the Dogs. Wow. Ty Simpson, he's looked pretty good. Mobile. He can move around better than we expected. Saw that against the Florida State Seminoles in week 1, running for his life a little bit more than we thought. Caden Proctor, left tackle, supposed to be a top 5 pick in the draft. Hello? Can we start playing All-American level? You want to be drafted that high, this is your chance to do it. A Georgia team that is famous for making supposed to be high left tackles. Kelvin Banks last year, 9th overall pick, gave up like 4 sacks against that Georgia defense. Jalen Walker and Michael Williams, he probably still has dreams about him. He's with the Saints now. Not talking about the Saints. Let's move on. Georgia. This team can run the ball. Nate Frazier, Gunnar Stockton, they've got that ability this season. After last year, they had a tough time running the football. This defense is loaded. It is packed with talent. Up front, of course, the Dogs are going to have very good front sevens. Always. They will have that ability, but the question in this game is, how do they match up against Alabama's talent? Because Ty Simpson clearly is a different caliber of quarterback as a passer than Jalen Milroe. He doesn't miss the easy ones, and he can hit the hard ones. This is a guy that has about the potential to be a 93 quarterback, right? If we're talking about the EA ratings compared to a Milroe that's ceiling is like an 86, 87 as a passer, Ty Simpson has a higher ceiling with his ability as a quarterback. Don't want to hear about the ceiling of a Jalen Milroe. We saw what he was in college. He was an athlete, a freak athlete at that, but not a good passer. Ryan Williams, they took him out of the slot more, and when they have him in the slot, they're giving him out-breaking routes. Let Jeremy Bernard do a little bit more of the dirty work. This Bama team can do to Georgia what Tennessee did. I would argue that Ryan Williams is a better wide receiver than Chris Brazzell. Not as long, not as big as a 6'4" Brazzell explosive guy, but he's got the speed. He torched Georgia a year ago. I think he torches them again. Bama wins in a tight one, 27-24. The team that wins this game will be the one that takes more risks, that keeps the pedal to the metal and is aggressive, and they're not afraid to go take it. You gotta do that to Georgia. If you're Kalen DeBoer, to beat the Dogs at their place, you have to take it. Georgia Tech almost did it. They tried to do it. How did they almost pull it off? Because they went in there with the mentality that they could take it. They were up 17-0. I think Alabama doesn't get off to the kind of hot start that Georgia Tech or they did at home at Bryant-Denny last year. But they can, in the end, just win the dang game. You follow to 2 losses on the season, you probably can't lose another one the rest of the year. You could be out. You want to play the 9-3 card again this year? I don't think so. They need this game badly, arguably more than Georgia does. All Georgia does is they take one off the chin and they throw one back at your chin. See who can last longer in a battle for blows. Georgia, nothing but good things to say about them. I just think that Alabama's got more talent, those weapons. The Dogs still got Bell. They have Zachariah Branch, the transfer in there. I just feel Alabama in this game, they have the possibility to break that streak. So we see the 2 longest streaks in college football fall this week. That's what I am predicting. To break it all down, Oregon beats Penn State 27-23. Texas A&M beats Auburn 34-31. LSU beats Ole Miss 24-21. Bama beats Georgia 27-24. Ohio State beats Washington 34-17. And USC loses to Illinois 24-23. Let me know down below what you think of these games. Where am I right? Where am I wrong? Please subscribe for more content if you have not already. I make NFL and college content every single day, so you don't want to miss any of that. The biggest week is here. We're fired up for it. And let's go do this thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Best player in college football. That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder. To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.